In California, roughly 33 million people, or about 80% of the state's population, are preparing for a new stay-at-home order that goes into effect at midnight tonight. It comes as Los Angeles County set a new single-day record for new COVID-19 cases, with more than 10,500, breaking the previous record that was just below 9,000. California lawmakers and health officials say a stay-at-home order is necessary to stop the spread of the virus.
We have a light at the end of the tunnel with these vaccines, but we need to take seriously this moment. This is the most challenging moment since the beginning of this pandemic. This is the time, if there was ever any doubt, to put aside your doubt, to put aside your skepticism, to put aside your cynicism, to put aside your ideology, to put aside any consideration except this. Lives are in the balance.
The measures we've tried so far simply haven't bent the curve the way we need it to. We have to do everything we can to prevent this from being a holiday season that we look back on as one of sickness and death.
You know, I don't think California has a choice at this moment. California's been having 19,000, 20,000 cases a day. You have to stop this level of transmission.
But the lockdown is being met with outrage from some, including the sheriff of Riverside County, just outside of Los Angeles, who in a video that's been viewed and shared hundreds of thousands of times said he would not enforce the new restrictions.
These closures and stay-at-home orders are flat out ridiculous. The metrics used for closures are unbelievably faulty and are not representative of true numbers and are disastrous for Riverside County. He is expecting us to arrest anyone violating these orders, cite them and take their money, close their businesses, make them stay in their homes, and take away their civil liberties, or he will punish all of us. While the governor's office and the state has threatened action against violators, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department will not be blackmailed, bullied, or used as muscle against Riverside County residents in the enforcement of the governor's orders.
And joining us now to discuss the new stay-at-home order going into effect across California tonight is Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Sheriff Bianco, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So how is the community reacting to your stance on this issue? That video has been viewed thousands of times.
Obviously, you can't please everyone, but I mean, I can't say all, but the extreme vast majority of Riverside County is very much behind me. I think that the response that I've gotten all across the country, I think most people are in agreement with what that message said.
Okay, but your job is to enforce the rules. Why do you feel that you can pick and choose which rules to enforce?
Well, it isn't. I have to make this clear that this isn't just me. This is law enforcement in California. Since the very beginning of this has said that we will not be actively enforcing these orders, the violations of the stay-at-home order. The reality of law enforcement in Riverside, California is that our governor and our legislature is making it extremely difficult for us to protect our residents from criminals. So lack of funding, lack of laws that are in favor of residents and law enforcement are preventing us from doing our job. So that's what our daily job consists of. We still have to answer calls for increased calls for service for real crime that's happening. And yet we're expected to pull away from all of that to respond to someone that's not wearing a mask. It's not practical. It's not, it shouldn't even be an option.
So for you, it's a resource issue.
Yes.
Okay, so, and you mentioned the Governor Newsom, and saying that he was hypocritical for sending his kids to in-person classes and going to that party in Napa. But this lockdown is in place regardless of any hypocrisy that's going on among the politicians, because the ICU beds are going to be at capacity. Do you not believe these measures will keep people safe?
That's a very, very long question. Not for this. That answer is too long for this segment. But is it going to help the amount of people that are going to the hospitals that are going to require ICU care? Possibly. I think what the lockdowns, I mean, I've dealt with our medical community, the people that are running our hospitals. While COVID is in the hospital and they do have patients, that's not the majority. That's not what's overwhelming the hospital. It's just normal seasonal increases now combined with COVID. So locking everyone down, is that going to prevent the ICU beds from filling up? Not necessarily. It certainly could help, but right now we have 135 people in Riverside County in ICU beds out of 2.5 million. So numbers-wise, we're going to completely force everyone to stay home, potentially lose their businesses, lose their jobs for 135 ICU beds. I don't know. Personally, I don't know if that makes sense.
So do you feel that you've been given any clear instruction on how you're supposed to enforce this order?
Absolutely not. I mean, talk about hypocritical from the governor. The day before, 2 days before he releases, I take that back. It was the morning before he released this information about our new classification and how we were all going to be shut down. He told us that, or his representative, he never meets with law enforcement officials, but he told us all that he did not expect any enforcement. And then he has his press conference and tells everyone that if you do not, the people that do not enforce, the counties that do not enforce his orders, federal funds and CARES Act money funds and state funds will be directed elsewhere.
All right, well, there is a longer conversation to be had for sure. Sherrif Bianco, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
Appreciate having
Thank you. Thanks.